Hello, family history writers, and welcome to this week's edition of Storylines. Now, it's important in your family history story to have conflicts and obstacles. Keeps the reader engaged and makes for a much more interesting and compelling story for the reader. So once you've identified the conflicts and obstacles that your ancestor are going to face in your family history, it shouldn't be too hard to identify the enemy, the source of the obstacles, the antagonist to your protagonist. If your ancestor, the main character in your story, is the protagonist, then the antagonist is the thing that stands between your ancestor and their story goal. The person or thing behind the conflict and obstacles. Now, there may be several antagonists throughout your story. The antagonist may be human, another person, even another ancestor. Finding the obstacles that your ancestor faced in life can come from a number of directions. While your story may have a more traditional antagonist in the form of a person or another ancestor, there may be other entities that are the source of your ancestors' troubles. Here are a few examples. Institutions, for example, banks, big business, government, social organizations, local community organizations, schools, neighborhoods, a church, another family in the neighborhood, a boss or a coworker, nature, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, fires, the weather, illness, mountains and jungles. And then there's self, what we do to ourselves, knowingly or unknowingly, our vices, how we feel about ourselves, or how our lives can keep us from reaching our goals. Medical, issues that your ancestor faced or someone close to them faced. Debilitating diseases and handicaps, mental health. The antagonist in your family history story is going to be the person or the thing that opposes your protagonist ancestor in some way and attempts to stop him from achieving his goal. Consider who your ancestor is trying to defeat when telling their story, the source of those obstacles and conflict in the story. The antagonist can be a person with good intentions, keeping the protagonist ancestor from harmful choices, or it may be someone trying to stand in the protagonist's way with their own agenda. Here are a few questions to consider when discovering the antagonist in your family history story. Number 1, who or what is the source of the obstacles? 2, what type of antagonist are you dealing with? A person, a thing, idea, self? 3, what are the antagonist's intentions? And 4, what is motivating the antagonist? Consider research and find the challenges your ancestor faced and what obstacles stood in their way. Give your ancestor an antagonist by discovering who or what was behind those obstacles. Now, thank you for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you back here next week for another edition of Storylines.